be the exception. Blacklisted podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
What's up?
All right, Dan. We are basically this whole episode is going to be about an update on a lot of things. We're going to talk about our business with what stuff's kind of going on right now, and where we're headed. Some things that are pretty cool coming up. Review some semifinals things, and because all of you guys have so many constant comments on Instagram, you keyboard warriors. We'll talk about some stuff, maybe answer some questions or just piss you off more, whatever. And then we'll talk about a few other things leading up after that. Yeah, let's start with Dan. You got some words to say to the people?
Good morning.
That's not what I meant.
I've missed you.
God, I hate Dan. We just wanted to say thanks to the community. You guys helped us a lot with our business.
That was my way of saying that. Good morning. I've missed you.
It's terrible.
Isn't that
terrible.
a way?
For all of you that don't know what he just meant, he meant thank you for helping us find a new space. We had a lot of gyms and owners reach out, and a lot of other athletes are just, everyday affiliate members that were like, you know what, let's find a place for them to set up shop and start doing what they do best.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, we were renting space out of a gym, and I woke up one Thursday morning to a text message saying that we had 3 weeks to vacate because the owners sold it to one of our competitors. And within, I think it was a week, we had 4 or 5 gyms that we were going to look at.
It was more than that.
Well, yeah.
It was all more than that.
We had, 4. I think we maybe narrowed it down to like 4 or 5 that we were like serious about. So, I mean, huge shout out to the community. Like that like blew my mind.
It was nice to finally see the cool part.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because this whole company's been founded off of the shitty people in the fitness industry. We saw the cool side of it now. So definitely gives you a little bit more faith that there are good people out there. We just need to look a little bit harder, possibly.
We should announce where we are, correct?
Yeah. One of those good people, Cooper, from the training box, he reached out, I think, like less than 24 hours, he was already shooting us a message and trying to communicate with us. So he's been awesome. Since I've gotten back down here, I've already sat down with him. He's got a great business sense. His gym's killing it right now. He's in Roswell, Georgia. If you're listening in Roswell, Georgia, go check him out.
Yes.
I think he's got another location in Woodstock, and then he's also building soon like a sports performance facility. So, yeah.
And shout out to John Chen as well.
Yes.
He assisted in that.
Yeah.
And that dude's an absolute baller.
Yes, he is.
Those listening who don't know John Chen, please check out his Instagram and just come to join us on a Saturday to get to meet that crazy guy. He's absolutely phenomenal.
Or go to an Atlanta Vibe game this summer.
Oh.
Or fall.
Volleyball, if you don't know.
Volleyball. It's a new professional women's league starting up.
Did you say volleyball?
That's what I heard. I heard volleyball.
Shit, am I from India now?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, sorry. We have like 5 days left on this T-shirt sale. We are doing a pre-order. Thick Boy is the designer. He's going to be designing majority of our clothes,
by the way.
Yeah, majority of our clothes coming up here. He does a great job. We have a pre-order on this for another couple days, so links in bio. You guys can click that, purchase one, thank you.
Not to be confused with my thick ass.
Also, the squad that's on my team's getting this sick.
Oh, it's so sick. The prism color on that is just fucking phenomenal.
Dope. Also, this shirt is like one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn. Sick. No.
Hell yeah.
Thank you,
More
Sweatshop.
than your jersey.
Yes. Honestly, someone's got to pay him.
What?
Dude, I wear that jersey all the time. If I'm being real.
They worked hard.
It's.
They did.
Holy shit. Yeah, they did. They did a good job.
They really did do a good job and worked really hard.
Could you say that they sweated?
They had to have.
Had to have.
It's got to be hot in there.
Yeah, in that shop.
I mean, that's what they thought, right? Look, this is a real thing. And
that's fair, man.
I mean, it's real. And you know what? They've got to eat, so someone's got to pay the bills.
I wonder what their ration. Nope. Be quiet, man. Quiet, man.
Also, whole conspiracy. it was actually Cooper that made us get fired or made Larry sell the gym so we would come help him with his business.
Dig that conspiracy.
Yes.
Major conspiracy.
That is the truth.
Just kidding. I mean, that would actually, when I die, I hope that's like what comes out of his mouth. He's like, I actually did it. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, super shout out to them. Amazing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal growth.
Yep.
Opportunity. Phenomenal growth already for like you guys and us.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things that has kind of pushed us, this opportunity has pushed us into doing a lot more shit. And one of the things that Griffin and I have been sitting down and chatting about is starting an affiliates program, like a little bit more individualized, though.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, one thing we see that could really help, like you have obviously some big names, and last time I talked on a podcast, someone was like, "Don't say proven." I was like, whoa, I didn't realize so many people didn't like them. They're like, don't give them time. I'm like, oh, all right, fuck, chill, bro. Like, I'm just saying names that people know out there. But anyway, I'm going to do it again. Proven and like Mayhem of affiliate programming. Yep. Pricing is like between $135 and $150. And, you know, they have a whole cohort of coaches and videos and things that they write out and put out there. Mm-hmm. And, we would like to say that we also can either do just as good or better than what they can, but everyone's also going to say that. So
right.
The proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yep.
I don't eat pudding, but Dan, do you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
At least that's her nickname.
Dang.
What?
You asked me if I ate pudding.
I hate you.
My mind went instantly to what strip club is she at? Yeah, like kind of what you're saying though, like proof is in the pudding. Like, so I've been programming for a gym out in Arizona for a little over a year now, and honestly, like it's been the smoothest thing as far as programming wise goes that I have kind of like that I've seen in my, like, you know, what is this, 12 years in the industry in the CrossFit gyms now. You're just able to kind of shift focuses really fast if you know you kind of get some feedback from the owner about like, hey, people aren't liking this, people aren't liking that. This is kind of the complaints that we're hearing. You get direct feedback from the coaches at the gym as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like everything is just kind of funneled back into you. And, you know, they can kind of deal with it on the front end and like manage some of the emotions and the day-to-day and stuff like that. And then you can kind of deal with it on the back end. And then it's also kind of like that trickle-down effect of like, okay, this is what we're looking for coaches. And then the coaches get to go and do what they do best and just coach the athletes. And there's nobody like really worrying about, because kind of everybody has an input. So nobody's really worrying about like, oh, why are we doing this, or why are we doing that, or this is dumb, or that's dumb. It's like, hey, if you have something, like bring it to us and we'll discuss it with you, and then it's something that we can look at getting implemented into the program, you know? So it's just, I think that's one thing that like people that are outsourcing have a lot of trouble with is like, you know, Mayhem has a specific way of doing their shit, Proven has a specific way of doing their shit, and you just get bogged down into kind of this one track, like, this is what you're doing, where if you have that more individualized approach, you can start kind of customizing and tailoring what it is you're looking for based off of what the gym and your membership is giving back to you.
Mm-hmm. What kind of feedback have you been receiving from that?
Well, so like, for example, like when we first started out, I went with the traditional, so I'm pretty keen on doing like 8-week cycles for group programs. So we started out doing an 8-week program. But we found like at week 6, we started to get a lot more complaints in the door. Oh, we're doing X again, or we're doing pull-ups again, or we're doing whatever again, because it was built off of a template. And so we were able to drop that down to 6 weeks. We saw the complaints go down. Still getting some in. So then we went to an alternating kind of 2-week every other template, and now we're getting significantly less complaints. People are still PRing. I think 1 week we had a testing week where we had something like 180 PRs in the gym or something like that. That was, and that was just the people that were tracking on WAD up. As many gyms know, not everybody signs into that shit. So I was only people tracking in WAD up. We had over 180 PRs in the gym.
That's a lot.
It was like I was mind blown.
How many members are in this gym?
It's a larger gym. I think it's 250 to 300. So it is a larger gym, but
over 50% of the clientele that you
had a PR.
Minimum.
Yeah, had a PR that week.
That's insane.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. So
Atlanta wild.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. As we all know, every affiliate's different, right?
Yeah.
I've been coaching an affiliate for the past 8 years, and I've coached in 2 different affiliates in the past 8 years. I've been obviously in quite a few different ones, as probably we all have. Right, and every vibe is different. How the gyms are run, the programming obviously is all entirely different.
Yep,
that's kind of what makes everyone's own culture. You have good and bad cultures. You have good and bad programming, and ultimately, that's kind of why I think it's important if you don't have the time or the knowledge. All right, I'll give you an example. I know this isn't as serious, but I'm not going to go to a general doctor if I need an ACL surgery. You might have to do that for referral, insurance, whatever, right? But you're not going to go ask them legitimately their opinion. Can you fix my ACL? Do you want to be able to walk again? Do you want to lose your leg? No, right. That's an extreme, but I'm going to go to someone this is their job, and they're going to do a really good job. And obviously, if they don't do a good job, fire them.
Yeah.
You move on and you find somebody else. I mean, obviously, there are plenty of owners or managers, if you hire managers for your gym to do programming. But you want to obviously make sure they're not just bullshitting. And granted, a lot of CrossFit is in general, but it's very important to have a background, at least in exercise science.
Totally, yeah.
Understand the why behind it, not because someone else does this makes sense and it works. Understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Right. And to kind of caveat off of that, Griff, sometimes even hiring a manager, they can get so wrapped. Every gym has drama. That's CrossFit. That's a small community. When groups get bigger than 6, drama ensues. And sometimes those managers, it's hard not to get wrapped up in the daily complaints and the daily the day-to-day of the gym. And you can kind of lose track of the focus that you have for the program when that starts to happen and starting to appease everybody. And that's kind of where it's nice, where we get kind of that funnel system into, hey, these are the things that we're hearing. And then we can kind of sift through, okay, you know what? Yeah, we do need to throw in a longer piece for those cardio people that just love to grind for 35, 45 minutes. We do need to kind of work on our strength work a little bit more. Or, we have been touching upper body pulling a little bit too much, or, whatever it might be. We can kind of take more of a bird's eye view of that approach and still field the complaints and still field the suggestions and the, whatever it might be. But it's more of a bird's eye view decision on what actually needs to be driven forward in the program.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know you can't make everybody happy, right? And one of the things that that can work is obviously when you're able to put blame on someone else.
Yeah.
And you make it a joke, right? Everyone suffering. It's better to suffer together, right? So when people love to even if they love hard workouts, they're gonna bitch about it. Typically,
totally.
That's part of it, right? And the coaches be like, "Oh yeah, fucking Kyle, right?" In these hard ass workouts, but they're good for you, right? Hitting them with that, we get it. Yeah, they are. And it builds kind of that culture-ish camaraderie to it. But it's easy as a coach. Don't blame me. But we're doing it. Right. And it builds that we're gonna grind together no matter what culture.
There's a animosity towards not the leadership, the direct leadership, but there's an animosity towards the global leadership,
right?
And that's what we had in my platoon in the military. Was we fucking hated my platoon sergeant and my platoon commander, so we all rallied around that, and we were tight as shit because
right,
they sucked.
Right. So you create bonds when you have like enemy is the wrong word, but when you have a common enemy, like you create a group, right? When you don't have that, then you're an enemy against just everyone else, right?
So everyone versus everyone.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be that serious, but in like that's how you kind of also create cultures, and you can spin it to where like we're gonna. Whatever you say, whatever you want, but you like we're gonna they're creating a really tough one to help us all get better at this.
Totally,
like, Again, not everyone's gonna be happy. There will always be complaints, but on top of that, the complaints can kind of get like pushed when like a lot of complaints are unnecessary voice frustrations.
Totally, yeah.
Because a lot of times most people don't like doing what they're not good at.
Yeah,
there's a complaint, and then they hide behind. Like not calling people out like directly, but like insecurity, like I'm not good at pull-ups. Right?
Yeah.
Why are we doing pull-ups all the time? Well, so you can get better at them, right? Like there's a big hole in your weaknesses. We're going to work on them. Like obviously with affiliate programming, there's a lot of balance, but I think it's one way to kind of like it's just a little bonus. In order to be like we're going to work with someone that knows what's going on in affiliates instead of just some outside source that doesn't really care and writing some stuff or we're doing a basic program.
Right? To caveat off of some of that too, this is an example that I remembered is there have been a couple members that have also reached out to me and like, dude, when you're coaching classes, especially in a gym that big, there's like 15, 20, 25. I went out there last December and I think they had a class of like 30 plus people in it. To have a coach have a tough conversation with somebody dealing with 30 other people in the class is fucking impossible. They can't do it, nor do they have the like bandwidth after coaching for an hour to do it as well. So I've had people reach out to me, and then we're able to have that tough conversation with them because we, on an individual basis, we just deal with less people. Right. So I've been able to have those tough conversations with people and get to the more of like, okay, so like, why is it that you feel like pull-ups are not a good thing? And then make them think a little bit. Okay, why is it that you feel that you need to kill yourself in the gym every day and make them think a little bit? And eventually that kind of questioning, which is difficult to do, and it takes like a lot of dedication and time to go down that route, gets that individual to think a little bit more and eventually gets them to, oh, this is what I want out of fitness. And that's kind of the most important thing that as coaches we want to help people discover is, what do you want out of fitness? You know?
Right. And that kind of leads all back to like every gym is different. So now you're talking like, what is your gym's fitness? Like, what's your clientele? You're an affiliate. Again, like CrossFit is here to help fitness, health, wellness, longevity.
Yeah.
Right. So what is going to get members in the door? You cannot tell me that we're all going to do this same program because those people won't show up. And guess what? You didn't do what your goal was. In order to get them, you have to get them in the door, and then you can push them harder, but you have to get them in the door. And if you don't do that, nothing happens. So everyone's program based on their communities around that gym or whatever area you're in has to change.
Right.
So like, again, CrossFit's very much like against the whole like do a strength, do a Metcon. Well, you know what? There's a big part of business that brings in people for that.
Totally.
Right. A lot of people love that. I think it's a great way. Yes, it's not traditional CrossFit, but CrossFit is not only traditional. CrossFit is CrossFit. There's a whole bunch of CrossFit.
Right.
Like so it doesn't have to be that. But then you also have gyms that are like, we want more time to coach. We want one piece.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to be. And people love it.
Right.
And you just have to know that clientele. And then you have coaches that program and write and talk to the owners and the coaches directly to create that for them.
Yeah.
Right. And because, again, like you said, most coaches or managers or owners, whoever are doing it, like sometimes it's tough. They don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Hire someone.
Right.
And then you can also fire them.
Yeah.
It's not permanent.
Right.
So yeah, I always like, I think a lot of gyms that are getting pushed into the follow the general affiliate program.
Yes.
It's cool, but it's not necessarily the best thing if you just pay a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're a small gym, it's tough. That means you got to like build your clientele over time, and that's just part of a small business. You have to do a lot of the work up front.
Totally, but it's also, you know, if you buy that, that's also something that you have as kind of like a thing over the other gyms in your area. Like, oh, everybody's following Mayhem here. Well, we're doing our own thing, and it's intelligently designed for our community, you know? Like, okay, if you want to go do a bunch of CrossFit, go over to this gym because they follow Mayhem. You want to do a bunch of, I don't even know what Proven's bias is, but if you want to do a bunch of Proven shit, go over to this gym. It's Proven. Like, you want to come here and you want to do things that are designed for our community to get better, come here, you know? And I think that's just another upsell marketing thing that you can provide to people as like value to your gym and your membership.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that like obviously we're doing is we're offering, like, if we do that, we're still also offering all our other stuff that we do that is just our general programs of gymnastics, swimming, recovery, things like that. So like if you like an owner's like, you know what, I want to pull from that, or I want that involved, like, or my members can look at it, sure. Like, that's part of this. We're here to write the things, but if you're like, again, every gym's going to have 10 people that want to do their own thing, which is still good. They have goals. They're different than the community, but that doesn't mean they can't be a part of the community and build towards their own goals. They have the opportunity to grab that piece that they need and work on it, versus a lot of other affiliate programs do not offer that. Right?
Totally.
So, yeah, that's a big gap. I think that's kind of, or a gap that will be closed soon.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years or so.
I mean, yeah, and like, you know, it's I've heard those things floated out there before. You know, like I think back in maybe like 17, 18, there like OPEX was doing some individual programming, and you hear of one-offs like myself or other coaches that are doing it, but I think more than ever at this point in time, there's probably like a little bit more of a market and a need for it, because now the affiliate programming stuff is starting to catch up to that price point of individual programming with how much shit they're offering for it. And like now it's like being feasible for gyms to go and do that, because like, well, shit, for $150 more, I could go get something that's tailored to my community, or like $200 more, like I could go get something tailored to my community. And sorry, I'm already paying $150 a month. Like, why not just go do that? You know?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people at home like pay cleaners to come to their house and clean their house.
Yep.
Dan.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell Jen, I'm like, no, we can't afford to do that. I'll clean it myself. But at a certain point, you run out of time, and then you need to have that. Like, if you have kids, you're like, I just don't have time. My house is a mess. You end up paying a cleaner.
Yep.
Get this. When we were growing up, we had to pre-clean the house for the cleaners to come in and clean it.
That sounds right. My mom would have made us do that for sure.
Why? Well, same, but why?
Good question. I don't know to this day.
That's like brushing your teeth before you go to the dentist.
You should probably do that.
That's a common courtesy. So maybe it's a common courtesy to clean before cleaners come.
If you brush your teeth every single day and floss every single day, like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to let them do it for me.
I do it more so to get the food out of my mouth that I'd eaten for breakfast.
But more than likely, yeah, you ate.
You brush your teeth and then eat breakfast?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the bathroom. I'm not trying to be time inefficient.
You brush your teeth and then eat.
That's fair enough.
You're probably one of those people that brush your teeth and then drink orange juice. You fucking heathen.
I mean, it doesn't taste the best, but yeah, I'd do it.
Yep,
I don't drink orange juice, but
he likes the burn. Chlamydia.
Hey, did you catch any Pokemon?
No, I was trying to figure
out. How bored were you?
No, I was trying to figure out why the Thick Boy pre-order thing is not on the bio.
Oh, we'll get it up there. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be up.
Well, then that'll also be added to our new website as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I thought I was going to be funny and bust balls, but I'm not good at this yet.
Bust balls?
Do you like to bust balls?
Yep, mine.
Same.
What's funnier is mine aren't attached.
I hate you.
It's fine. We had to break the tension at some point.
All right, what's the next topic?
Semifinals.
What do you guys want to talk about in that? The East was fun as fuck.
Because it always is.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't pay attention to it because I've had a lot of swimming shit to deal with.
Well, Pokemon Go again.
I wasn't playing Pokemon Go. I would have answered correctly. I would have said I caught like a 4-star Rayquaza if that were the case.
You know, it's crazy. I know what that is. It's like a dragon-looking thing.
Very well done. Legendary.
Shout out to Jack Rosema for going west to east and qualifying. That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
that's gang shit.
It's pretty impressive.
That's gang shit.
I mean, 'cause isn't the West typically a little weaker than the East?
Not
in
a
depth,
little bit.
in depth.
I mean, in depth.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, oh my God. It is. It's weaker in depth. It
Totally.
just is. It's not even close. I mean, put it this way, like qualifying, so many people in the East just in quarterfinals would have qualified in semifinals in the West.
Yeah.
Just saying. So,
I mean that. It is what it is. That is the current scheme that we are playing with. But hopefully something a little bit more balanced comes out in the future.
How?
they
Just
had it.
North America and just split it.
They had it
When?
last year,
Yeah.
the year before,
Wait, I think didn't they do the Mississippi? They did the Mississippi last year.
the year
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So
Yeah.
what made Devil's Advocate? What made that balance compared to this?
North America.
North America. So your score, it was the top. Well, I guess it was 120, and now they dropped it, so it would be the top 80 now.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now you're balancing scores not just on the East, you're balancing over all of North America, and that shifts a lot. That shifts a whole different leaderboard.
Why was that?
If
changed?
you have one
Good
like bigger, if you have a
question.
hole, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. So if you're more balanced, you'll actually do better in a bigger grouping.
So I'm curious, then, what's the purpose of them doing that?
Honestly, I don't know the reasoning behind it. I think they were just trying to make it easier for people to travel, like territorial
Yep,
wise.
that's what
I
they're
would
trying.
guess.
But I think for the most part, no matter what, you're paying a bunch of money to do all this anyway.
yeah,
So-
just like
To be honest, I would have loved to be in that tennis stadium in the West.
yeah, that would have been sick. Mine sans 10 people in the stands.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
shit.
sure. For sure.
Woof.
Yeah, they didn't get filled up very well. I did see that part.
Yeah, well, maybe they needed to do try to find a way to do all the events like in the evening to have like people come in at night or something.
Well, I think the
Yeah.
issue with that this is purely speculation, but you're booking a place that the CrossFit Games, which is the pinnacle of your competition, decided to move away from because it's too expensive.
Mhm.
And you as a semifinal are coming in and booking that spot in an already extremely expensive location to go visit.
Right.
And then you're asking people to come take vacation days to come there and watch CrossFit, which don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that would go and do that. But I mean, in Knoxville, I would imagine that the cost is significantly less. So you take a weekend off, you go there, you can probably still save up for a little bit longer and go take another weekend trip. You go out to California, that's done. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what do you think the best venue at semifinals has been? Semifinals, regionals. Sorry, we'll put up that. 'Cause
Orlando.
Semifinals,
Orlando.
you do? You
Yeah,
think,
I
you
loved
think
Orlando.
it's better than Atlanta
Orlando? Oh, then the Atlanta.
regional.
Yes, I didn't like the Orlando spot. The Atlanta spot. I'll caveat that with, I hate competing in the place that I'm living.
Okay, outside of that, I agree.
I don't think I'm able to judge that fairly. I would say
Fair enough.
I've competed at a lot of spots, and
From a spectator ability to go, forget competing.
okay. Orlando was
It
so I
makes-
spectated.
What makes the most money?
I coached and I spectated in Orlando, and I felt that Orlando had the best spectating out of any since probably 2017 Nashville semifinals.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I did like Orlando's spot. Atlanta is so Orlando's a great place to go. So like
Yeah.
you go, like okay, yeah, we're going to go somewhere as a spectator.
Yeah.
You're making a vacation.
Yeah.
Make it a place for vacation.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
100%.
Orlando's a good spot.
Yeah,
Atlanta is a good spot.
Yeah.
Nashville is a good spot.
Yeah. I would not be opposed to seeing something in Atlanta again. I just think also though, because of like, there's a huge knock on Atlanta, and everybody here will say this. It is super difficult to get around here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is. But
So, like,
everyone's gonna stay right near there anyway.
Yeah.
But in the sense of like finding ways to make more money, as a business, you find a semifinal spot that is a good location to vacation to.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is accessible airport wise.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Is a big key
Huge
thing.
key. Yeah.
So yes, Knoxville had more people than the West.
Yeah.
Pretty far away from the airport.
Not a good destination for people.
Totally.
There's nothing to really do.
Yeah.
But unless
you like a disgusting orange color.
Orange cream is my favorite ice cream.
I hate you.
I know. Orange sherbet's also the best.
Push-ups.
So good.
So good.
Speaking of push-ups, I did get that big box of push-up chalk.
Hell yeah! Shout out to push-up chalk.
Yeah, shout out.
Which I don't have any to present. Someone Photoshop it in.
Just assume a push pop, but with chalk instead.
Yeah.
Don't eat it.
You can lick it though.
Yep. How many licks to the center of the push-up chalk?
You can lick it. You can lick it, but you can't eat it.
Nice.
That's great. Shit, what were we talking about?
I'm not going to say my joke.
Location. Semifinals locations.
So I've been to the Orange County Convention Center a handful of times.
For
That's
grid.
where semifinals is.
Semi. Yeah.
And I'm kind of in that. It's like 45 minutes away from the airport.
Orange County is?
Yeah, though the convention center is.
Okay.
It's down near, not too far away from Kissimmee.
Okay, in defense of that, though, you could stay 20 minutes away from the airport and only be 20 minutes away from the venue.
100%. We've done that a lot. I think, in my opinion, I've only been to the global center thing of Atlanta, like twice for a Jurassic Park thing. And it stressed me the shit out, just like figuring out the area.
Yeah.
I think the Orange County Convention Center trumps it.
Yeah.
It's easier to traverse. It's easier to get to. It's more a little more straightforward.
What's the venue that was in Palm Beach in 2018?
Oh, I never went to that one, but it was
pretty cool.
People still talk about that regional, so I think it was probably
the workouts were also really good.
Yeah.
It was a good event. Also, I mean, we qualified for the games, but.
I know. I'm like trying to think like how much of this is bias upon us actually doing well at these competitions, you know?
I've never been to any of them. So
I liked Atlanta, and we had a traumatic event in 2017.
Yeah.
So
I remember we did we qualified in Columbus, and I fucking hated that place. So where the Arnold is.
Yes.
We did. We went out of there. It was whatever. It was
Fair
Midwest.
enough.
I mean, it is Ohio.
Yeah, we competed in Minneapolis as well. That sucked. That was super.
Yeah, I don't think any competitions need to be there.
Yeah, just fly like
you got the Vikings.
It is literally the flyover state for the Wolves now.
Right,
believe
fair.
that. That's an Ant Edwards saying his slogan.
Gotcha.
What? Believe that?
Yeah.
I don't think he can own that one. That's been around a long.
Oh, has it?
Time. Yeah.
Well, I'm
I thought it
cultured.
was heard.
I'm cultured.
I thought it was heard that.
No, it's believe that.
Oh well. Whoops.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah. And then in 2000, what was it? 17, 18, 17. I went out to the South in Utah. God, was that? Oh, I forget where that was. Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City was pretty fun too. It's just they probably should have held the West in Salt Lake City. It's just that elevation is the only issue. I went to Nashville. What's that?
Nothing.
Nashville, and then competed in Atlanta the next week. So I kind of hit 3 of them. And that year, in my opinion, Nashville was the coolest. But it was also like that year that was the Central Regional in Nashville. And so like you had Froning on a team. And then I think that year, like the top. So I was coaching a team that finished in 6th place. And that year they like, if you took the global leaderboard, they were actually 14th in the world going in the second weekend. They were good. Yeah. Like that region was good as fuck.
Yes, they were.
And the team final event had more people in the stands than the individual final event that year. And it was sick as fuck. I stood in the back for it, like where they would finish. And then you had the only way you could exit was out this side because they had stadiums like seating all around. It legitimately took me 20 minutes to get out of that place when they finished. Like, it was so packed. It was awesome.
Well, the the word around the globe is that sanctionals may come back.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what capacity, but essentially that's almost what it's kind of happening.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to take a mix of all of them and put them together, but then
yeah. I know people loved regionals, and like, dude, regionals was awesome. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But like, you also had a higher number of people competing at regionals than you did at semifinals. And you had much bigger pockets that you were taking from. And
you also qualified differently.
Yes. And to grow the sport, you have to have people competing in the sport. And right now they're creating more exclusivity than they are inclusivity.
Yep.
And sanctionals, as much as it, like, initially you look at that and you're like, this is stupid. It's expensive. Was a great way to get people into the sport.
True.
I went to some cool places because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never gone.
Right.
Like, again, make a place that's worth a vacation because you'll go do it and you involve more people.
Bali. Only swim events.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
We got a program for that.
Yeah, I'm down at this point.
Hell yeah.
My legs were tired as shit yesterday.
I believe it. I was looking through that from
Just
yesterday.
think how they would do 8 million burpee box jump overs. It was fucking terrible.
Builds character.
Doesn't.
Says Dan.
It builds fucked up legs.
Looking through your times yesterday from after the swim session, like, that's well and above, even with equipment.
You hear that? I'm no longer a bitch in the water.
Let's go.
Like, long course meters, you did.
To be honest, I
well.
honestly had forgotten that, like, I'm in a long course now.
Yeah.
Like
the Griffin's been training in an Olympic-sized pool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mountain View's 50 meters.
I've been clapping in there.
Long course meters.
Dope.
Honestly, yeah. Had to, otherwise people run into you like that stupid fucking moron
yesterday. Did she
yesterday.
go under the fucking rope? Like, dude, I saw her at the corner of my eye, and I was like, it scared the shit out of me, and I thought I was about to head-on collision beat the fuck out of her.
Yeah, she's a former swimmer, asterisk, so she utilized some quick maneuvers.
Did she go out of the lane and then back into the lane?
She ducked, went down, under, and then back up.
That's what I thought I saw, and I was that's why I was like,
oh, wait, so she was swimming faster than you?
No.
So
I was swimming. She, like, ended up showing up, and Dan's like, hey, you're probably just needing to share the lane. I was like, all right. So I'm in the middle of my set, and I'm on the way back, and, I mean, I don't know when she started, but I'm just on the way back in my tester that I'm doing, so I'm not. Like,
at speed.
Yeah, and the lane, like, I'm going, and next thing I know is I literally see this bot. Like, I'm literally on my right side, and she's on my left, but she's heading direct on. And as I turn, I was like, holy shit. And she, I guess, went into the, like, she under the lane. And then
as you rotated, she was rotating opposite, and
so we were torpedo.
Dude, it was fucking dumb, because I looked right at her, and I said, here, he'll be on that side, you be on that side of the lane. It's called splitting the lane in the swimming world.
I am kind of not intelligent and came to the conclusion that somebody moved over to the wrong side of the lane in this scenario.
It wasn't me. It wasn't him. So, like, in swimming, when splitting a lane, there's a line down the center.
Circle swim, but typically you're all doing the same thing, and you're in the pool, and you've all communicated we're going to circle swim, and you're all the same kind of tempo and pace. But we split the lane, so you stay on the right side of the black line, and the other person stays on the left side. There are lines.
She pushed off the wall, headed right towards Griffin, and I thought, uh-oh. Because she would not have won at all.
That would have hurt. I was swimming hard.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell she was thinking.
Would you have let her drown for her mistake?
Oh, my God.
I contemplated it. Because, like, I thought, man, when they collide, she's going to come up with a broken eye socket, probably a broken nose, not knowing what to do. She's going to scream bloody murder, and Griffin's going to be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just going to stand there and contemplate your survival.
I still had to swim another 120 meters or whatever. No. I could stay composed. But the whole time I was like, I might end up. I thought it was I thought it was somebody in the other lane, legitimately.
Like they came over.
They came in. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
But you kept going. You didn't miss a stride.
Anyway, we were talking about Bali and swimming. This is the cool shit you could do when you're swimming with us.
Yep, head-on collisions.
If a shark tries to fuck you up, always prepared.
Always prepared.
We do have a new track, or a new track with the swimming product. If you've been following it, that is in my opinion, a phenomenal progressive piece that encompasses swimming.
It is very helpful. It really is. Learning how to swim. Like recently now I have to coach one of my athletes on how to run properly. And like I had all these like flashbacks in my brain, and I'm like, why do athletes run and then they just run? They don't work on mechanics of running.
Dude, it's crazy. But that's like running mentality from the 70s though.
But I also I'll even say for myself, I was trained to the T how to run.
Yeah.
And all multiple days of the week, typically every day. Honestly, every day between every sport and then also being on track and running, learning to do it, then also learning how to coach it. I stopped when I did CrossFit. I swear, I stopped focusing on that entirely.
Yeah,
and it was I forgot that was a thing. And
yeah.
Also, it was second nature to me. So then I forgot, and then as I've gone on, I'm like, oh my god, people actually don't know how to run.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, athletes self-select into good running mechanics, or the sport just deselects them out, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with higher level athletes, they should have had some sort of build up to running well, right? I think and I think too, if you just kind of running around while you're young, you're going to build good mechanics, and you might self-select into good mechanics while you're young, right? Mm-hmm. I remember I was a pretty good runner for the sport. But I remember my parents always talked about I was running around with my shoes off, and I never walked anywhere. I always ran somewhere when I was learning how to walk. So I think there's some aspect where it's you self-select into those good running mechanics, and then so your concept is, oh, okay, well just run more and you get better at running, right? But in reality, there is a lot of people that just don't understand that, and they're just but they're hearing oh, if I just run more, they see crazy mileage from marathon runners, oh, if I just do that, I'll get better. And there's a lot of CrossFit.
It's just basic CrossFit for a lot of people too.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of there's now actually having dived more into coaching and learning and shit like that. There's a lot of underlying base factors that people need to comprehend first and develop before they'll actually start to be see the fruits of their labor and not get fucked up knee injury, foot injury, ankle injury, calf injury, trying to actually put in that
Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I do believe there's a running program available. Yes.
Well, it's in our method of what we're writing consistently.
Yeah. We're doing so. This is also something that we've seen over the last kind of year, and this was something that we got away from last year. Actually, was we were doing running sessions on Friday. We're bringing those back now that I fucking am not dumb according to society standards. We had time to do that. Right. So we're bringing that back, and I think that's going to make a huge difference. But that was something, especially with just the athlete types that we have in person here. It just carries over to the sport so well for bigger athletes because you're learning how to move your body in space. You're developing good bounding mechanics, which is important for anything jumping related, like burpee box jump overs, double unders, legitimately jumping up to high rings or anything like that.
Olympic
lifting. And then did I say? Well, fuck. Did I say you know how to move your body in space better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so you're moving your heavier relative to the CrossFit field body in space for longer duration of time, and that just helps with anything gymnastics, burpee, double under, wall balls, squats, anything related to moving your body mechanically. And so we're gonna implement that again and hopefully have some success again this year.
Hell yeah.
More success.
I like the part where you say
shout out Stella.
Yes. Hell yeah, Stella. Yeah. That's a topic to talk about.
Yeah.
What happened?
Griff Dog's here 2 for 2, including himself.
Yeah, I am patient zero. Coaching myself and making the games, which I don't know many people that have done that.
I'm on maybe Josh Everett.
I mean, back in the
probably
day,
back in the day, back in the day, yeah.
Modern CrossFit times. I don't.
2016 on.
No fucking way.
Does
5 people?
I think Ariel Lowen programs for herself, right?
But I think doesn't her husband have a pretty big influence?
I mean, he might. I don't know.
I could be wrong on that.
I just did it. Yeah, I straight up just was like in the lab myself,
doing shit.
Specifically, the lab,
getting that autism going on fleek.
But yeah, I took a lot of that, like the stuff I learned that I wish I could have done better, and then things that I know that worked well, and then some new things I've learned. Obviously, having you coach me too. Like, there's just so many different ways to progress athletes that I've implemented into what Stella's doing, and obviously it's a little different because I get to started with her when she was just under 14.
Yeah.
And I started CrossFit when I was 24, 25, somewhere around there. So really late. So it's entirely different, but I can kind of develop what she's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she walked in the door and didn't have a real toe to bar. Like, she could throw her feet up there, but couldn't get her feet to actually hit the bar.
Right.
So then she had zero toe to bar.
Yeah.
Zero
Honestly,
chest to bar, coming from a company that says they can develop athletes well.
How long did it take her to develop from what you just stated of 2 specific examples to games?
All right, so like a year and 7 months.
A year and 7 months to get someone who couldn't do
that to the games.
Not
just to the games, also being able to highly compete with these girls.
Yeah.
She's not good. I mean, again, she is, for 15 years old, she is the Brent Fikowski of the games. She is much bigger than the other girls, and with the way teenage programming is, especially 14, 15, it's very lightweights, and she is probably top 4 to top 5. So she's 4th or 5th strongest girls in the world at her age.
Fuck.
Right. There's a couple of girls that are stronger than her, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that it doesn't matter. So she the strength portion doesn't make too much of a difference for her. So it's building her ability to do bodyweight gymnastics when you have girls that weigh 107 pounds.
Right.
Right. So if they have the skills, they can fly through.
That's just nonsense. Nonsensical. It's impressive. Is what I'm trying to get at. It's like
get a stroke.
Overly impressive. It's nonsensically impressive. Nonsense. This is not a word, I'm quite sure, but nonsensically sounds cool.
I like it.
So it's nonsensically impressive. On God, for real, ice in my veins. Sheesh. You took a girl that went from she still had a bunch of little baby fat on her when she first started.
She was
13.
13.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Right.
I'm trying to give you props here, dog.
I know. So
shit.
I know. No one.
You want your kid to make the games in a year? Sign up with Griffin.
I will say this. She has been doing CrossFit for a long time, at whatever level it is, being younger, right?
Asterisks.
Sure. I will say this. She had a lot of coaches before, even when she was at TTT, that have helped her, being young, teaching her how to do basic things.
Totally.
I think one of the biggest things, though, like, she was relatively already strong. Because I think when she walked in the door, she snatched like 115.
Okay.
That 13.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
That's solid,
yeah. But every time she went to that weight, that bar was sent 70 feet in front of her.
Yeah.
And she did the whole hip hinge, the whole thing. And I'm like,
I know what you were about to say there.
oh no, right? So we had to fix that, but she was already strong, just correcting like movement patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. I will also say this, though, like, she dedicated so much time to choosing, like, this is what she wanted to do, and she showed up and she did the work. So like, yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but can't make him drink it, right? So like, she decided to choose to do that.
Sometimes, though, you have to teach the horse how to drink water.
Fair enough.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that is fair. Like, I would say this. I wish we get in a discussion about this consistently. That I wish she had played sports.
Yeah.
She like tried some and hated it.
Yeah.
Fine. But for body awareness, spatial awareness.
Good, yeah,
like, dude,
yeah.
It would have made it faster for us to progress than what it was. I think she could have been at the games the year before. Granted, I didn't even have her for a full year by the time the qualification stuff came around. But when you start with 0 toes to bar to get there, like, it's not going to happen.
Right.
She had the right strength and fitness. Her gymnastics just hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Also the mentality. That's a whole other thing. When you don't play team sports, you have a different mentality about things. And I just come from a background of a bunch of team sports, so I've tried to instill a lot of like the mentality behind how to attack a lot of this stuff. So it's just like an all-around development build. And the biggest challenge, obviously, for her is going to be the growth from. She had a ton of growth. Now we have to have a whole another huge jump going into the next category,
right?
Because just everything just skyrockets strength-wise at all of it.
Yeah, but I mean, she's already strong too. But I think for her, it's probably going to be more the gymnastic side of things. 0 strength cycles. Right.
We've done strength, right? I'm not saying we don't lift. We definitely lift because we have to fix technique of a lot of things, a lot of core bracing exercises. But she hasn't gone through what I put some of my other athletes through on strength programs where like they increase their maxes by 15% in 9 weeks, which is unheard of typically. Most people struggle with 5 pounds.
Yep.
So yeah, like we'll end up hitting that prop like postseason. Just to start building that back up, but it's been fun. She's been lucky to have parents that want to succeed in those dreams.
Yeah, especially out Meredith.
Right? Like a lot of parents want their kids to succeed, but don't.
Dude, her Meredith acts on a heart.
They don't act on it. They don't find a way to do that. Yeah,
kills it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like the amount of work that she puts in for her daughter to do what she wants. So like I get to see Stella almost every day during the week.
Yeah.
And I dedicate at least 3 hours a week to coaching her.
Yeah.
And some days it's more coaching, like how to do certain movements. And some days it's just like watching her and like giving her feedback on certain things or building the mentality before going into a workout. I'm like, look, I don't care what you do today. All I want you to do is like have this mentality the entire workout. I want you to focus on that. That's it. Like it's these little pieces.
Yeah.
Building a formidable foe.
Nice.
Right? It's just...
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Aside from the accident she had on the rig a long time ago.
Yeah, spatial awareness.
I don't even remember what that was.
She was doing chest to bar and flew off the bar and landed like on her shoulder on her neck.
Oh, dang.
Because one big problem before we go to finish the question is the spatial awareness.
Yeah.
I would ask her what number she's on. She's like, I don't know.
Oh.
She would be. I'm like, what are you thinking about when you're doing this gymnastic? Nothing.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, we got to start thinking.
Yeah.
And being in the moment. We are not advanced to where you could do 100 pull-ups unbroken and just be mindless at the beach, right? Like we're not there.
So I just felt like running.
Yeah. Her hand slipped off and full.
Gone. Yeah.
I mean, we've all done it. I did it.
I have a video on my Instagram if you want to scroll back 3 years.
Hell yeah.
I gave myself a concussion in the first open I ever did with the ball. It was like, I don't know, 7-minute, 10-minute AMRAP of power snatches and bar muscle ups.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that worked.
Yeah, 10 minutes. 7.
Yeah. 7. It was 7 minutes.
Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
7
Last
minutes.
bar muscle up of the workout, went for it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I was like, didn't have the like real grips. I had the like finger whatever the hell those things were.
Yeah.
And fucking just carried me out like Jesus. Flat.
The hills are alive.
I did it at my level 1 in front of Russell Bergner. I was on my round of 15 on Fran. I'm one of the reasons you guys can't do Fran at level 1 anymore. You're welcome. And I was like, I was on like 9, and my hands were super sweaty. I'm like, that seems like it's slipping. I get to 12. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. I do my next one, and I just fly off the bar, land flat on my back. I get up, and Russell Bergner's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Uh huh." He's like, "Go get chalk. No more butterfly." I'm like, "Okay."
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, let's say so. The question was Stella. aside from that yeet off the bar, the amount of tweaks, injuries, shit like that setting her back throughout that year and 7 months with you, my perception was 0 of them kept her from progressing forward at any point. Agree or disagree?
Yes, except for she has a major bracing problem. Not anymore. That takes a very long time to develop.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take her to do? You're still working on it, but like to the point to where
a lifetime.
When did the tweaks start to?
Legitimately a lifetime, legitimately a lifetime of understanding. I don't know if it's. I don't say that. I don't think it's a male-female thing. You learn how to do that playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hit somebody not braced, bro.
Yeah.
You're fucking dead. You are literally nothing and will crumble your bones if you don't brace to hit someone well.
That's why I beat my children now.
I hate you. Yeah. So I'm biased in it because I learned really, really, really young, and then obviously weightlifting and doing that properly. But it's also something that, especially for coaches, don't see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They'll be lifting.
Okay.
You can see the perfect deadlift form, and their back hurts.
I'm glad that you said that, because what I'm getting at here is like, I'm trying to, one, promote you here, but two, like, kind of showcase like this is something that is so valuable that it's missed.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. Like that is a high level ability to see something, and then also not only see it, figure out how to correct it.
Yeah.
Because again, that bracing is one of it seems so simple to me, but again, it's not
right
for a lot of people on how to brace well.
So one might say you're an outlier. One might say you're an exception.
There's other coaches that are able to.
Yeah, there's other but I think one thing that we can bring to the table, because you're obviously trying to promote us.
Yes,
right
I am, fucker.
one thing I'm biasing everything.
One thing that we can bring to the table, and like a lot of these other brands can, they can market and they can sell well, right? Mm-hmm. From a big picture approach, and they take a big picture approach. But what we do is we find the detailed approach and make you better based off of the detailed approach. And that's like Griffin is great at analyzing things and like super great at seeing movement and developing movement because he takes more of a detailed approach. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go and you ask him, like, okay, like, let's talk about that a little bit more. That's a 3-hour discussion that you're going to have.
Yeah, no, that's
and so like it's
fucking good.
It's difficult to be able to like explain that to people because most people are not that detail oriented where they're going to dive down into the just super specifics of a snatch or super specifics of a toes to bar and the different types of mechanics you can have for a toes to bar, different activation you can have for a toes to bar. But all of that leads back to a more well-rounded and a better athlete, which is what we chase as an organization.
So we develop,
and it's what we develop, and it's why we're good at developing athletes. Yes. It's because we take such a detailed approach without getting the big picture taken away from us.
With our autism combined, the power is yours.
Oh my God, dude, we have to get rings like Captain Planet.
That's what I'm. Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm honestly like Kyle. You're providing an argument for everything I'm trying to.
It's like
get
a class ring.
Like really, yeah. Like,
well,
yes.
Are we having it? Mark all autists with a ring.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's incredible.
But it's like the cheap thing. You have
actually, you
have a special wave.
All we're explaining is Power Rangers.
You're not really? Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm not.
You're not wrong.
I mean, at one point it was like the little belt coin, which is the OG, but then it turned into rings.
That's true. And and then there's the 7 rings
of power.
Yeah.
Lame. That was cool in middle school.
What? No, I'm talking about Lord of the Rings.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
It was cool in middle school.
It's cool now.
Sorry, Pat.
Nah, Lord of the Rings is dope. I'm excited for the whole new thing they're going to come out with.
What's that?
You don't know?
Nope.
It's unfortunate.
Similarian? Didn't they already do that one?
No. It's It's about finding. It's like about Smeagol, how he got the ring,
cool.
the whole story about it.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm excited for that
That'd be
story.
dope.
That story's gonna be really fucking cool.
Pat's favorite character is definitely Smeagol.
Whose isn't?
Not mine.
Why not? Who's yours? Fucking Sauron. Flame.
No,
flaming eye.
one of the tree people, probably.
The Ents. One of the
Yeah.
Ents. Yeah. I mean, okay, all right.
It's 100% Legolas.
I'll give you that, dude. Legolas is a baller.
I was about to say, if you were to say anything outside of that, we were gonna fight.
No, dude, Legolas is a fucking baller, and so is
yeah, dude, he does all the work.
Fuck, Thrin. Fuck.
From The Hobbit,
yes.
Thorin.
No, the Elf King. Then, God damn, I can never say his name.
Nah, he's a loser.
Thranduil. When he stops being a little bitch. When he stops being a little bitch.
Nah,
Once a bitch, always a bitch.
You're not wrong, but he's also.
I think he was actually pretty cool in the some. I can't say that one, but that's a good book. If you haven't read that one, that's a great book.
What?
The Silmarillion or something like that. It's about how the world developed.
Oh, it's kind of dope.
It's super.
Smorlian?
Yeah, it's like
so.
it's
I don't know, me either.
super tough to read, but it's a really good read.
Does he use Shakespearean phrases?
No, it's just so in depth. It's super in depth.
Okay. Like Attack on Titan? I'm into it. Let's go.
I don't know what that is.
That's an anime.
Don't know what that is.
Yep.
Okay.
It's called hentai, and it's art.
I don't know what that is.
Me either. So, getting at the hyper detailed
We might need to wrap this up soon. Just saying.
Well, so you hit
this
the
is like
detail stuff.
way off topic.
It's extremely important for. I'm glad that we went in depth there with like the whole Stella thing because, one, congratulations to you and her,
Totes.
and the organization, in my opinion. Two, it's an opportunity to showcase like we're hyper detailed in the sense if you want to be great, we help you develop. Like, we help kill off that person inside of you that doesn't like the fucking detail-oriented stuff. And the second you shut that down and allow this growth mindset to settle in, then you start seeing rapid improvement. I mean, I'll use Emma as an example as well. I mean, Emma's always been hyper-detailed, but butterfly pull-ups specifically. Now it's finally, like, whatever piece was that was hindering her from doing it outside of, like, structurally, now she's destroying it. I mean, fucking Saturday was the first workout she did with butterfly pull-ups, right?
Butterfly chest to bar.
Chest to bars.
I don't know where she got to in that workout, but I think she ended up. I mean, she was pretty close.
She got
to
pretty
90.
far.
Yeah, she got pretty close to 90. So,
but like the whole detail-oriented thing, like.
But it's also like detail-oriented, but big picture. Because like for example, for her, like you could tell she was. I mean, she's just an overthinker in general, but you could tell she was overthinking it. And when I watched her do them on Saturday, I'm like, just do them. Don't think about it. Just go do them. And you're going to start to self-organize into your ability to do butterfly chest to bar.
There is no
she
try.
did.
There is no try. They do.
But
yeah, I think also one other big piece that's like outside of just me is like a community in this sport, especially if you're not on a team. It's extremely lonely if your goals are above what everyone else's are, which especially games, semifinals, still, like what you have to do and dedicate to be able to do that at this point. It's like a lonely road, and we've like our community's grown enough to where like it's not like one of her favorite days is to work out on Saturday.
Hell yeah, our
like,
Saturdays.
She was actually pissed last Saturday that I didn't let her do what everyone else did.
Yeah, I would.
But I also like there was a reason I was like you need to do what I need you to do.
Yeah.
It didn't line up with what I had on Friday.
Totally.
But she needs to be a part of like a community and like enjoys it. She likes
but
doing that.
Also a good community.
Yeah.
Like
right.
There
are
a lot.
community.
Yeah, there are a lot of communities out there that exist that are not good communities because it's fucking hard to create a good culture. Like it's super hard. And a lot of the time, especially in the fitness industry, you have individuals who are about themselves creating a culture and not about the individuals in the culture.
I think the world has made it hard. I don't think it is that hard. I think if you are your authentic self, and those are the leaders, of what's going on,
right,
your community will be good.
But you're also at the same time like your authentic self can't be an egotistic self.
No,
right?
No,
because I think what happens is a lot of the time like. And this is probably true outside of
stated you had to be a good human being.
Literally, yeah. But it's like I've been having this conversation with a lot of people recently. Actually, is like one thing that's missing in the coaching industry right now is people who are good leaders, and you need to have good leadership qualities to be a good coach. Part of having good leadership is looking after people. And there are a lot of people
that can't do things for you.
Yes.
Right? Like looking after people is important.
Yes.
But I'm just giving this other side of it. A lot of leaders look after people because of what they can do.
Right. And which I wouldn't consider that looking after people. I consider looking after people who are struggling. That's the individual that you're helping, and you're like, your true character comes out when somebody can do nothing for you, right? And that is the sign of good leadership, is being able to look at that person and help that person out.
Yep.
And like that is one aspect that's missing, and I think there's a multitude of other aspects that are missing inside of coaching as leadership right now. But the big one in the fitness industry is just like, there's a lot of egos, a lot of narcissism that kind of floats to the top as a coach. And when that happens, you start, quote unquote, ego coaching people to be like, hey, look what I can do with these athletes. Look what this athlete did because of me. And it's like, no, you are there to promote your athlete only. You didn't do fucking shit. That athlete did all of the work, and you take a back seat.
Said I'm not answering these questions, man. I didn't do.
I mean, that's fair, but then at what point in time?
No, I know. But that's my point. I'm not going it's not about us. It's as coaches. It's about the athletes or the people that you're helping.
Yeah.
It's about them.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like, and that's where you leave it.
Yeah.
Yes. Like all coaches deserve recognition for doing a good job and being good leaders.
Yeah.
But no great coaches should expect it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll be the villain in this podcast.
Okay. Like, you know what? Like, so I actually posted on my Instagram the other day. Right now, what Deion Sanders is doing is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is he doing?
He's taking care of the kids over there.
So, all right. So, obviously, you're going to have some athlete come out of somewhere and be like, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, everything he's doing is fake. Yeah. Like, you know what? You're right. I'm not in there. But the culture. Like, the culture.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how much you understand what's going on. Last year, he went to Colorado.
Okay.
A team that doesn't win football games.
So, he did like a not gridiron gang, but what's that?
No, he didn't take kids from jail.
What the fuck?
No. Like that good story or whatever.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. But no, so he went to a college, a Division I college, and started coaching. He has not coached other than like youth thing. Like or you know what I mean? Like he hasn't coached.
He did Jackson State too.
Yeah, right. Like he went to Jackson State, changed that program in what, 2 years, 1 year?
No, I think he fucking won his first year. Yeah, he was winning his first year there.
And then they paid him a whole bunch of money. Granted, he had a phenomenal football career. But just because you had a great career does not mean you are a great coach. It doesn't mean you are a great leader. It just means you're a great individual at what you do. Right?
Yeah.
However, he elevates everyone around him.
Yeah.
Also, as a young player, especially a lot of these guys, like especially him at the time, pretty egotistical, little out there. The thing is, though, that was his thing, and he did it right. He did it well. He didn't do well at first. He learned to become a leader on a team. It takes time to do that and understand how to be this big star, but also help build your team in the locker room, right?
Totally.
And he has gone to Colorado with a team that does not win. They don't. They get beat.
Was it the last time they were good was like 30 years ago or some crazy shit in the 90s?
And then last year, how many people tuned in to watch them play football? Because, like, granted, it was all hype. He talked them up, but they had talent. He brought in all of this talent. This entire culture changed. Obviously, the culture that was there was super fucking pissed because they didn't get to play anymore and they left or whatever. And I'm like, look, that's again, same thing in CrossFit. Like, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough yet. You got to find a way. Okay, you had better players come in, learn from them, become better than them.
This sounds like another movie I've heard of called The Replacements.
That was the movie that I was going to mention. But
no, they were professional athletes, and jail had some dude from jail come join his team.
There was only one former professional athlete.
They did change the culture, but it wasn't like a whole, like, they didn't take over. They literally just were subs.
Yeah.
And it was all about Keanu Reeves balling, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
I want to watch that movie again now. But but I think, Griff, like what you're saying is like, you know, Deion still does have a little bit of ego to him. I'm not saying that like you need to get rid of that ego, but you can tell he is also genuinely cares about the kids that he's coaching. And like, you know, you listen to him talk and he's like, him and Saban are like cut from the same cloth almost. They're like Saban's a little bit less less flashy.
Same cloth, but they're entirely different personalities.
Yes,
right?
yeah, and they're always about, and this is why I think they gravitate towards colleges. Like we have to teach these young men how to be men, and like they're helping them out for the long term in life because they also understand like, hey, we have a roster of I don't know how many it is in college football, but he's like, dude, there's like 5 people, maybe 12 that are going to get drafted and play in the NFL. Like the other 60 or however many it is need to understand principles of life to be good people to give back to society. And that's like he's doing that for those individuals. He's not doing it like winning comes along with teaching those principles.
Winning doesn't, especially in football, winning does not come along by being individuals.
Yeah.
It is a team effort
at
all times. If one person fucks up, especially when you're at an elite level, dude, your team sucks.
Yeah.
Like you have to have great people around you and you have to build that culture around you. And now like I'm excited to see what they do this year. Like what he's done. Again,
I think it's cool that he faced adversity last year because throughout his coaching career he hasn't yet. So I'm excited to see how he kind of like responds to that.
Dude,
adversity.
Everyone's like, "Oh, he's not shit. He doesn't know shit. He can't do any." Like the amount of pressure that like takes on you, and still be like that, have that much belief in yourself, and that much belief because you have that, then you're going to put a good team around you. So you have a belief in your team, and then you have a belief in those coaches to help all those young guys that you bring in and create that culture. Like essentially is like the same. Like you have like he is a great leader, right or wrong. He is a great leader in what he's doing. I mean, a majority of what he's doing right, at least from what it looks like on the outside, right? And sometimes that is one of the most important things. Unfortunately, what it looks like because it can be inspiring to others.
Right.
Now, if it's not good on the inside, a little different story, which does happen. I don't think that's the case, but
same.
You know, like that's you have to build those cultures. It's the same thing that like CrossFit's well behind. It's a new sport.
Yeah.
But those are great role models and great like systems to look at.
I remember like when I first started CrossFit, I was like. And started coaching, I was just like, oh, CrossFit's so different. Like, we don't need to do anything. And like 2 years in, I was like, what a fucking stupid thought process. You have 150 years of sport, athletic, and coaching. Like, go fucking study that shit. And now all I do is I read like basketball coaches' books. I read fucking football coaches' books. Like, I read all these other coaches' books and just learn from everything that they've established over the last 30 decades that they've been coaching.
Cool fun fact, I'm related to John Wooden.
Oh, no shit. Great coach.
He is my godmother's dad.
Okay.
That's cool.
That's dope. That's dope.
It's kind of crazy. Or godmother's grandfather. Sorry, not dad. Grandfather.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I have a basketball signed by him.
Wild.
And I was like at his practice, and he literally was just like, whatever. And then he's just like, I think pretty times like to the griff or whatever.
That's dope.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking for a good role model and a coach, like go look him up. He's fucking just fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, like again, a great way as an athlete to look at like affiliates that are doing things like this, like us, that are trying to create these athlete camps and coaching and create good communities. Look at leaders. Also, you can look at the athletes and how they represent themselves. As you said, like I don't think it's that hard to do it because if you're a piece of shit, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that.
Yeah.
Now, also, like, I'm happy to change someone that's struggling and they need help. But like, if you're just that person, nah, you're not meant here.
Yeah.
Like that's just I don't want to be around that because you're going to bring everybody else down and everyone else should be risen up. That's just how this works. Yeah,
for sure. You guys want to end on that? I think I need to get going here.
Yeah. Briefly, Wooden on Leadership is a book that I strongly recommend to everybody listening to this. If that's something that's out of your repertoire, I have written a meta-analysis involving a lot of... I'm serious.
I know.
And that will be in our blogs coming up soon.
Yeah.
A lot of my papers that I've written for school on leadership, quality stuff, a lot of it involving the things that were just mentioned by Griffin and Kyle.
Yeah.
Those will be available to read if you are a part of our community.
Yeah.
You can learn how to be a better part of the community if you'd like.
Yeah. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Sign up for Blacklisted.